Hey guys, what's going on? I hope you had a good week trading. I know my week was pretty flat to slightly up, which is awesome. But what I was most excited about is seeing that Jason Bond's small account journey is actually doing really, really well over the last 3 months. And this is something that he's been working on and working on. A lot of people got very frustrated with him, but I think if you stick with this guy, I think you'll find that you'll make some money. So before we get started, I want to talk about an alternative. We're actually going to go into thetatraders.com. So thetatraders.com is a service that was kind of joint co-founded by Lance and myself, where we do similar trades to small account journey. But we also do futures trades, which has a lot of advantages and disadvantages. Not really any disadvantages, really. Mainly advantages to some of the trades that that Jason does during his small account challenges. And we're actually going to run one. And we're going to run one in a way that is not going to blow up your account, which has been the biggest problem with the Jason Bond small account challenge. So we're going to start advertising that pretty soon. It's going to be really low cost. If you want to go and check out the website right now, though, you get a ton of free training. There's 190% of your trades in 90 seconds, which is awesome. Different credit spread stuff, selling oil futures. We do so much stuff in this Discord. It's like 10 Discords in one. It's way underpriced for what you get. There's different tiers. If you're new, I'd suggest starting at like the 197 every 3 months, the quarterly subscription. We're going to do we're going to do like a 5k challenge. So you're going to have $5,000 and turn that into as much as possible. And this is going to be a separate thing. So it's going to be a separate subscription. And as far as I know, we'll see what happens. And I think you'll be surprised at how well you can do if you're conservative, which is what Lance really is compared to Jason Bond. Now, Jason Bond has done an amazing job. Can you believe turning $2,000 into 30-something thousand in just a few months? He's done that twice now. However, the first time he did it, and I'll show you, he lost it all. However, this time, he's learned from his mistakes and he's doing a lot better. So I'm really excited about the future with Jason Bond's small account journey. That being said, I still believe in Lance. Lance has been working with me for a couple of years now, and I believe that you'll see smaller gains with Lance with this journey that we're going to do, this challenge, but you'll see that there's much less risk, so you're not going to blow up your account, which is what everybody gets mad about, right? So like the guru might make 30,000 then blow it up, and then the people that are starting near the top will lose all their money. So there's always that risk, and I really do think it's worth checking out thetatraders.com. I'll leave my email in the link as a link in the description below. And you can just send me an email, say, hey, tell me more. Like, Lance is often jumping on Zoom calls with people. I jump on Zoom calls with people about how I'm doing with the service. I've paid off my car, my brand new Toyota RAV4 LE, by taking these trades that are provided here. Basically takes no time at all, and I'm really excited about it. So going forward, definitely check out this website. Well, let's get started onto the small account journey review with Jason Bond. So Jason Bond is this guy right here, staring off in his cool stare into the distance. He is a multi-millionaire trader, although it is debatable whether he makes millions and then loses millions. I know that definitely happens. He makes millions and then loses them. One guy that I really do like is actually, I do put ads on my site, and one of them is Nate Bear. So if you want to click and check out this guy, he's been audited several times. He is able to turn small amounts of money into large amounts of money pretty quickly, but in terms of years rather than months. So if you're sort of in the middle, and this is buying options for Nate Bear, he is fantastic. I love his service, so definitely give a shout out to Nate Bear for that stuff. So, going back to my experience with Jason Bond, I've known Jason Bond for almost a decade now. It's crazy how time flies. But Jason has basically gone from penny stocks to options to selling options very, very quickly. And he's had so many different journeys, as they call them. They don't want to call them challenges, probably for legal reasons, right? And so I want to show you some of them and what to expect, and hopefully what not to expect going forward, right? So, like, there's a lot of things that he can do better, and he has been doing better, so I'm really, really excited for him. So, this was the latest current challenge. You shouldn't use the word challenge there, it should be journey. It's went from $2,000 to $33,000, which it may be a record now. Jason, if you're listening to this, please pay yourself that $33,000 and restart the challenge. Now, you may have already done that. I don't follow this full time. And so if you guys are in this already, may have already paid yourself and be out of this and started a new challenge. Let's look into that and what's in the dashboard, because I don't have time to monitor every single trading thing that I review, and sometimes it's difficult to keep up with everything. So let's start with the good stuff, and then we'll look into what could be potentially a bad thing and what could be potentially a good thing. First of all, he's done really well. So if you look at these tickers, they're all big names: NVDA, Tesla, Meta, Amazon. And so these are spreads, and they're bull put spreads, and you can just Google that if you don't know what they are, but it's pretty obvious from what they are right here. You sell the 3750s, 2250s, 5 width, right? And you collect the premium, and you go on, you win 27%. So you can see that immediately you are at a profit. So trying to make sure that this goes up to the right area right here. Just trying to sort this out. The system's a little clunky. Oh, page up, page up, page up. There we go. Alright, so he started this in November. You can see the entry column. If you want this data, I can send it to you. I'll always put my email now in the description below so that you can see what is going on exactly. Because I want people to be happy with stuff that, I send them. You can see this was a day trade, which is unusual. There's been a few more day trades, or one overnight holds here, which has been unusual. So you can see the account building as we go right here. So you started with $2,000 profit on the right here. Try and zoom in. Don't want to zoom in too much though, because end up just getting bogged down. So you start with $2,000 and you make a 59% win. You now have $2,920, and then you keep going, you keep going. These long winning streaks, in my opinion, you should pay yourself. I don't believe that you should keep compounding and being more and more aggressive. And I think Jason Bond is slowly but surely coming around to this idea that you want to pay yourself quickly. Now here is a con. Not a con like as in a con. Here's a negative, I'd say. Jason Bond started to say what he would do is he would double his account every month, and subscribers would get that, and they would then, double their account every single month. Now if you look here, he would have done that, and this is a problem, he's too ambitious. Well, it's not a problem, but it's also cool. If you look at the entries here, within the month of November, so from the 13th to just the 28th, he went from 2,000 to 9,000. And so this is the problem and the awesomeness of it, is I would take that money out and I would start with the fresh $2,000. So if you're part of this service or you're thinking about joining this service, that's what I would do personally. However, Jason chops and changes his mind a lot, and he decided to keep going. And so he kept going through November, and he kept growing it, 9,000 by the end of November, and then boom, straight back down to 2,000. And so here's the problem. This is okay for Jason because he then regrows it, but for people following, this big loss, this minus 200% loss, is devastating. If you start at this date here and you take this trade and you lose 200%, you're like, screw this, I'm going home, as Cartman would say in South Park. But what you really need to do is to continue and follow the strategy as it's supposed to be, because you can see start to rebuild and rebuild all the way through December. He rebuilt up to $9,000, which is right here, and then took a loss back down to 7,000 and 8,000. So you can kind of see where things are going. And then just scrolling down here, look at this green streak. This is amazing. So I know it's been a bull market, and that's a big part of this, is you've got to remember that the market does dictate some of this. But if we look at like February, for example, it's just win after win after win. And I think that's given him a false sense of security again. We're now into March. 15th of March was today. His balance is 30,000 here. And as we keep going down, it's up to 33,000 by the end of, like, let's see what the entry date is here. Right here. So the 22nd will be the when this expires. So these are still open. And so this could drop to 0, but it could also keep just going. So it's pretty amazing. So you got to say, like, the problem is the high risk, high reward is what gets people. They want the high risk. No, they want the high reward, but without the high risk. This is the current challenge. This is real data. You can kind of look and see what things are happening here. So if we look back, say they take this section randomly here. This is at the end of 2023. You can see that the spreads are here. The overnight holds were, we're talking a week hold from 11:30 to 12:07, 12:07 to 12:12. This was a day trade. This was an overnight hold. This was an overnight hold. This is 3 days. This is a day trade, overnight hold. So you've got to be fairly active, but not that active, right? You can do some of this stuff pretty well. And so, being completely honest, I'm not that happy with Jason. I promoted this service when he did this before, months and months ago. He built a $2,000 account all the way up to about the same amount. The problem was that it then crashed. So my hope is that here he's not going to take that hit. He's going to cut his losses. That's what he's been working on like mad. And that he'll take this 33,000 and either put it in the bank and start a new challenge, or he'll continue to grow this to 50,000. Now, there's pros and cons to both approaches. First of all, I think the conservative approach is that every month, if you make 2,000 and you turn it into 4,000 or 8,000 or 5,000, you take that money out and you bank it. Now, the reason that this is important is he talked about doing that as a strategy and then switched to this idea as soon as he started to go on a run like this, to this idea of just building it again, just going at it, just building it. And my worry here is that he is falling, foul to the same thing that caused him to collapse on the last small account challenge that I promoted for him, because I thought it was so impressive, that he'll take a $33,000 loss in some of these trades, and it'll go to 0, and everybody will be mad again. Now, if he proves himself and he doesn't, and he takes just like small losses or small wins, which is hopefully small wins, right? Then I'll be happy, and I'll continue to be a big Jason Bond supporter. But if he blows this up again like he did 6 months ago, I'm pretty much done with him, because he is a fantastic guy. He's like one of those brothers that you love, but like you only want to see once a year when he does stuff like this. And so I'm hoping that he's going to, come through with these bull puts. They're expiring on the 30/22, so they expire in like a week. Now, if the market takes a sudden like a downturn, which is potentially possible, like it's really possible it could do that, he could wipe out these $33,000 worth of gains in these few trades. If he does this, I'm going to be pretty mad, because he really did like a big thing where he was going to start taking profits much more regularly. And again, he may be doing this somehow, because I don't follow this service like a religious nut. Like I do this like with other services, so I'm not following every single thing that Jason Bond in Small Account Journey does. So I'm currently looking at the current challenge. We can look at the chat room and also the archive challenges and just kind of see what else he's doing, because I'm curious, because he's buying very risky options. You kind of have to, right? Like in order to turn 2,000 into 30,000 in a few months, you kind of have to be a bit risky. So it's not that easy to do. Try to zoom in here and click on these things. He'll have challenges where he just loses straight away. Most challenges do double or triple their money pretty quickly though. So you can click on some of these things. They're not really working though. There's so many challenges going. Here's challenge 11. Let's see what challenge 11 was. I don't know what that's all about. Just gonna check out some of the results. There we go. So this was one, it went down. This was last year as well. And so people's biggest complaint with this whole thing has been, well, it's not consistent. You can take a challenge, you can start a challenge when he does, and you can triple or double or quadruple or 10x your money, or you can lose it all. And unfortunately, this high risk, high reward trading is like that. The way to get around that is to take part in the challenge that we're about to run in thetatraders.com. We're going to run a challenge for much less than Jason charges. It's going to focus on 0DTE SPX and put credit spreads. And it's going to be separate from all this stuff here. But you can check out this website just, for your own benefit. The idea being that we're going to try and get a balance. We're going to try and make a lot of money quickly, but not as quickly as Jason Bond, but without all the risk. So there's a fine balance, right, between the two, between risk and reward and getting this thing done. So I don't watch every Jason Bond live. I used to, but because he let me down a few times before and he upset some of my followers and people, some people have made money with him, which is great. I do believe he has the potential to be a world-class small account challenge trader, like with these bull puts, but he's still getting there. Now, the big question is what happens next. So that's what I really want to know. He needs to bank this money. He doesn't need to keep switching plans. He needs to focus on a plan and actually, make this work. Let's just see what he has to say in the overview. Remember, if you have $2,000, also this is his overview video. I'm not going to watch it. If it was a transcript, I'd show it. But he really works his butt off. Like, he works hard on this. He tries to get people working well on it. He tries to get people doing it. Here's the overview of the strategy. He's not just gambling. He is trying to use an edge. His edge is small, though, compared to thetatraders.com. So the thetatraders.com edge is smaller. The rewards are smaller, but the risk is much smaller. So I definitely would suggest checking thetatraders.com out. If you look through my review, you'll see some of what I've been talking about here. This service started off as Wall Street Bookie. I interviewed Jason right here. You can watch that review. Jason's a great guy. He just needs to really focus and get his act together so that we have more things that look like the huge winning streaks that he has and less like the ones where he blows everything up. I'll leave a link in the description for this article right here. I'll update it a little bit to go with how this latest challenge is going, because it's going fantastic. And leave your suggestions in the comments if you think this small account journey is working well. I know what happens with a lot of people is if they join a journey at the wrong time and it goes against them, they'll turn off and they'll switch off and they'll move on to some other service. But I really want to hear from the people that don't do that and continue and focus and keep going with a particular strategy. Learn it and make it their own and become independent traders. That's like really important part of trading. So here are some of his rules. Great companies like Meta tend to trend up over time. Blah, 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 blah. So you can learn a lot from Jason Bond, but usually his prices are quite high. Hopefully he does a sale soon. If he does, I'll let you guys know. But he is a veteran trader. He has made and lost millions trading in the market, so he has started to do things a little bit more like stop loss strategies and things, which is good, because that's what was really killing him. And it's what kills a lot of traders is their stop losses, right? So he says, the big mistake I'm making with the $2,000 small account journey is my stop loss. He's totally true. Today we will examine how to improve that. And since he posted this, he has improved his strategy massively. And so the guy works non-stop. You can see how tired he looks in this video. So, whilst I can't fully endorse Jason Bond's small account journey at the moment, I'm hoping that he's really turning this around and this is going to be a service that you guys are going to love. So make sure you check out my review here and go through it. In the meantime, I'll keep you updated on what we're going to do. It's a small account challenge on Theta Traders. It won't be anything like turn 2,000 into 30,000, but it'll be somewhere in the middle, right? We're going to try our best to come up with the similar type of trades where you're going to have a much higher chance of winning than you are of losing, but also then, build your account. So if you sign up for that, I think we're going to set it up as a standalone service. You can always use that as credit once you purchase that. And if you like it and you make some money, you can always use that payment for that service as credit to upgrade into some of the amazing services that we've found to work really well, like the future strangles and the covered strangles and the iron butterflies and the gold rush trades and the crude oil trades in the Theta Traders system. This is where people are making, life-changing amounts of money with very little effort. So we want to get people in at the start, though, start them off with the simpler stuff and get them building their accounts a little bit. So that's what we're going to be doing in the near future. So hopefully you guys find that useful and go from there. Anyway, that is my update on the small account journey. Jason Bond has done it yet again, but the big question is, can he hold the gains? I'll do an update video once he actually cashes out, and I'll add it to the review right here. I've interviewed him several times, and this is the first time he turned 2,000 to 25, then he went to 30 something, and then he blew it up. So he went from 2,000 to 30,000. He's actually gone above that now. So he's at 33,000 now on this particular journey. I'll add that in down here somewhere if I can. And then hopefully he doesn't just turn it to zero, because that's the danger. If the market's starting to turn over, then it's time to be careful and make sure that you don't mess up all your subscribers' accounts. So hopefully this is helpful, and I'll talk to you guys soon.